Hi. Do you hear me? Now you hear me? Yes. Yay. Everyone. It's so nice. It was such an amazing class. An amazing book that we are going to start learning. This book is called That is Nafshecha, Know Your Soul. We also have it in English. I bought it in America, actually. They have a bunch of different, he's written a bunch of different ones. There's Da'as Atzmacha, Know Yourself. There's Da'as Hargesh Rasecha, it's Know Your Feelings. And basically, what we're going to start learning in this book is we're really starting from page 1. And in this book, he covers the 4 elements. He covers the 4 elements, and then once we're going to get the 4 elements, once we're going to get how the 4 elements work, once we understand how the 4 elements work, once we get where we fit into these elements, which element you're going to find yourself. You're going to see how you are way more fire, have a little bit of earth to you also, are a little bit running very low on water and air, right? Or vice versa. Every single thing he says, before we get into it, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a preface. He says that every single being, every single creation here in this world is made up of these 4 elements. Okay, all of us are made up. Our personality, it's our character. It's like why we like certain things or don't like certain things. Let's say, for example, some people really like knowing exactly what they're doing on Shabbos, know exactly what their plans are for Shabbos, what they're eating for Shabbos, how many guests they're having by Tuesday. By Wednesday, they're finished shopping and cooking. Okay, by Thursday night, their table is set for Shabbos. They have everything is cut up and ready and prepared. Even their salad is waiting for them, right? And there are other people, we're not going to mention any names, that are like can take phone calls on Friday and be like, yeah, sure, it's Friday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, of course you can come. Meaning they're a lot less that way, which is more earthy. They're a lot less earthy. Earthy is more rigid, more structured, right? People that really they flourish on the same schedule every single day. They flourish on knowing what to expect, knowing what they're going to eat, knowing who they're going to meet. They flourish on control, and not in a negative way. Every single one of these elements that we're going to cover, we're going to learn together, has obviously a good side and a not good side, meaning they can manifest both in the good and not in the good. And we're going to go into depth, and we're going to learn clearly how you're going to find yours. And when you find the one that's most dominantly yours, let's say, for example, you're much more of an earth than you are a fire, or you're much more fire than you are any other thing, you'll see the dominant element within your character. You'll see the dominant element in the people that you know and the people that are closest to you. And then all of a sudden, you don't have to judge yourself as much. And you don't need to tell yourself, why am I not type A? I should be type A personality. I should also know what I'm making for Shabbat on Tuesday or Wednesday. Or I should also have why am I always such a last minute person? Why do I work the best under pressure? Why can't I have my stuff prepared ahead of time and come to it like just chill? Why am I that kind of person? So when you learn about your personality, and that's what this brilliant book is about, basically it will take us down, it will rip us into shreds, and we'll get where different qualities come from. And when you get where your qualities come from, then you're like, oh, obviously I'm this way. Obviously I have a temper, and I have like this impulsivity to my character, but I'm also one of these people that likes to take leaps and jumps in life, right? That's not that obviously is afraid, but wants to keep moving forward. It's not enough to stay in the same place, right? And then you learn that you're not bad for not being a certain way, for not being structured and all of those things. Because if you were, let's say, someone that's more structured, right, then you wouldn't have that impulsive wanting to gobble up life and jump ahead and really like get into that fire mode. We're going to learn about every element. We're going to see the good. We're going to see the bad. We're going to see how every one of those elements really describes us, okay, on some level or another. And again, some things you're going to be like, no, that's totally not me. And some things are going to be like, yes, 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 that's totally me. That's totally me. And it's really, really just helpful. It's so helpful to know yourself. And now, if it wasn't so helpful, we wouldn't have the Arizal writing about it and his Talmud, Rav Chaim Vital writing about it in the Zohar. We wouldn't have the Rambam discussing it and many Rishonim. It's really, really brought down in our sources. This is a really important concept to learn, because once you get this, and you can also understand how to build your qualities, you can learn how to build your character. You can say, no, that doesn't work for me. I can't just listen to any motivational YouTube video and be like, yeah, I have to be that way, and why am I not that way? Because you have to know who you are. You have to know who you're working with. You have to know the qualities in your character. You have to know this will work for me. And I know that if I push myself this way, I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot in the end. I know it's not gonna work out for me in the end. I know it's gonna be bad for me in the end, but it's working for everybody else. Everybody else is able to have a 9-to-5 job. Everybody else is able to, buy a house by the time they're 30. Everybody else is able to go to the gym and whatever, and it's not working for me. Why is it not working for me? So really just knowing where you fit in and within yourself and which category you fit into, you get the tools to know how to grow effectively. That matches you, not some random person, but you, really you. And he gives us, in the Sefer, he gives us a lot of techniques. And if you're this way, if you have this element in your Nephesh, and if it's the most dominant element in your Nephesh, that's fine, that's good. Now you can also figure out where your laziness comes from, or where your fear comes from, that you have a lot of fear, or where your inability to go for something, or your impulsivity to jump into the flames, into the fire of life, without thinking twice, burning your bridges, doing things you're going to learn yourself. And once we learn ourselves, it's a whole different board. It's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different ballgame. A whole different ballgame. There's not like one way to be, or this is the way to succeed. That's the way to success, wake up every single morning, don't sleep, wake up every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, go run, then this and then that, and like live your life like a YouTube motivational video. That's not the recipe for every person. And that's what we're going to learn. So we're all here. Hi, everyone. So nice to see you all. I don't see anyone really, besides for Regina. You're the only one that's unfrozen. Hi, you look so beautiful. So good to see you. Love me. Okay. And hi, Esther's here. And hey, guys. Hi, Rihanna. So nice. I love this. Hi. Hey there. Wait. I don't see you clearly. Hey, Beth and Henchi and Talia and Sheva and Shoshana and Abraham, Esther, Galaxy J3, thanks for joining. And everyone else, thank you so much for joining. Let's begin. We have an awesome class, okay? So we're going to start right away. All right, focus here. So we have these 4 elements: fire, water, wind, and earth. These 4 elements, Rav Chaim Vital, who was a Talmud of the Arizal, who explained the Zohar, he explains that every person is comprised of these 4 elements. Now we have to understand what that means. When it says every person is comprised of 4 elements, what that means is that your character, okay, you have a character, you have a personality. From when you're very little, if you have these home videos, there are certain things that you still say, certain things that you still do. I texted a high school, one of my best friends in high school. I haven't spoken to her since high school. It's been a long time. And it's been like, I don't know, 20 years, okay, since high school. And we were like BFFs. We were very, very close. I still spent a lot of time with her, a lot of time in her house. And I just WhatsApped her like last week. And she answered. I found her and I WhatsApped her and she answered. And I like literally jumped out of bed. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I jumped out of bed and my heart started pounding. And I was like, oh my God, like someone that you had so much history with. And I said to her, I keep trying to remember that song that you used to sing. And I can't remember. Can you sing it for me? And she left me a voice note singing it for me. But she said the things that she said before she started singing it were exactly the way she used to speak when we were in high school 20 years ago. Like the same like one-liner and like a certain tone. And it was so funny for me. Like 20 years goes by. And this lady is like a mom of like, I don't know, 7 or 8 kids today. She's like the principal of this school or whatever, and she still speaks like I remember her. And the reason for that is because we have a personality, we have a character, and that character, that personality, it's rooted, it comes out, it stems from these four elements. Okay, that's their bite, that's their home. So we're gonna cover fire. We're gonna learn what fire is, where it stems from, how it works, how it manifests, the good, the bad, and the ugly, all of it about fire. Before we get into fire, I want to go with you through a little bit of just give you a basic understanding of what each element is, a little bit, okay? We're just touching on it, and as we go into the classes, we're going to understand in depth each element. So today we're going to talk fire, but I'm going to give you fire, water, wind, and air just as an overview of each one, okay? So we have these four elements. Fire, he brings down the Rambam says, okay, let me just get it 1 second, hang on. Hold on 1 second, I'm sorry. Okay. He says like this, fire is koach ha-mechaleh. Koach ha-mechaleh means the energy of fire is consumption. That's how fire exists. Fire exists by consumption. The more fire consumes, the greater fire will be. The more it has to consume, the bigger it's going to be. Okay? That's how it works. Just think in your mind, when you think fire, just think consumption. Okay, you're going to understand it in characteristics and personality in a minute, but just leave that on the side. And then he goes on and he says about wind. Sorry, I'm just looking for, I don't want to mess it up. Hang on, sorry. I'm sure I wrote it down. Here we go. He says about air. Air is koach ha-maniya. The energy of air, where it stems from, is koach ha-maniya. Air is movement, all movement. It's all movement. Okay, we're going to get into deeply how air manifests, how people with air signs are really opposite to earth, and they can have both in their qualities, in their personality. Earth and air can be in the same person, but how they create friction in the person, right? This person that's an air sign, that's going to be more dominantly air in their character, will be much more free-flowing, likes to move a lot, can have the same kind of day every single day, doesn't like structure, doesn't like knowing exactly what's happening, when it's happening, what is a lot more free, a lot more open, okay? Whereas we'll go into earth, and earth is steadfast, earth is formation, earth is boundaries, earth is control, earth is knowing, earth is having it all organized. Think type A personality, okay? That's earth. So a person that has a lot of earth in their personality will have a lot of those characteristics, okay? A lot of those midot, okay? And then the final one is we have water. And what's water? Water is koach ha-ma'atzev. Yes, koach ha-ma'atzev is, koach ha-mekayem, koach ha-mechayeh. Water is koach ha-mechayeh, which means it's the power of nourishment. Power of nourishment. A person that has koach in their personality is going to be more of a giving person, has a lot of chesed. They like to give a lot. Koach is shefa, water is shefa, it's giving, right? They have a lot of that character in them, those midos in them, but they can also be very into gashmius. They can also be very, very into stuff, actual stuff, because it's geshem, which is mayim, right? Water, which has a lot of that gashmi in it, where they like to be almost like machers. They're going to be the shapchanim, right? The ones that have a lot of water in them, they want to know, they're in the know. They want to know what's going on, who was there, who was by that simcha, who sat next to who, what did he say? Okay, that's very much of like that water quality. Well, if you put a water next to an air sign, okay, it's not a sign. It's not like it's not like the months. It's different. It is almost, think about it like this. It is the be'er. It's the foundation. It is the wellspring of where our characteristics stem from, where they grow from, okay, where they come out of. It's the mother of it all. Okay, so when you know who your mother is, mainly who your mother is, then you know who you are. All right, and then you're not working against yourself. So if you have a person that's more of like a water quality person, they have to understand that they have good and they also have bad, just like the fire, just like the air, just like the earth. They have good and they have bad. So they'll have this want to like do and help and set this one up and get them a job and do all these connections and make all these things. But they also maybe perhaps like to gossip a little too much, or like to be in the know a little too much, or have too much of an opinion, or right? And that's how you learn how to tweak yourself. All right. So now what we're going to do, so far, anyone have any questions? If you have questions, you can talk, unless you're all muted and you can't talk. If you have questions, you can type, or we can answer questions in the end. It's probably better to answer questions in the end. But you're gonna, I feel like from the times that I've taught this before, people have had a lot of questions because some things sound like they're negating each other. Like you'll see now we're going to start with fire. You're going to see how fire can be a little bit confusing, but we're going to go over it and over it. I'm going to give you a lot of different examples, and you're going to see as we go ahead, and we're going to master this subject, okay? And really, in essence, what we're mastering is that we're learning from a Torah, from a Kabbalistic perspective, how to do surgery on our soul, on our character, on our personality. And now, if you get yourself and you know what you're looking at, okay, if you know what you're looking at, if you're looking at your character and you're looking at what you like, what you don't like, the stuff about yourself that you're into, the stuff about yourself that you're not into, if you look at the whole thing and you know how to look at it, then you know how to approach yourself and you know how to squeeze the most out of yourself. You know how to get the most out of this experience called self. Right? And the more I'm able to get clear on who I am and what I'm working with and the stuff that God has given me and put on my plate, then the further I can get in my life. And I'm not shooting myself in the foot, and I'm not hurting my own feelings, and I'm not putting myself down, and I'm not hoping and wishing I was somebody else with other qualities because I don't do this and this and this the right way it should be done. Okay? I'm moving with myself. I'm working with myself. And that's the chachma here. The Torah tells us, Chanoch lana alpi darko. We have to, how do we raise our kids? You don't have to raise them all the same exact way. That's not what the Torah tells us. No, don't raise your kids all the same, exactly the opposite. Raise each of them based on who they are. So if you want to know how to raise your child, you got to know who your child is in order to know how to raise him. So if you know who your child is, then you're going to get so much further. Same goes with self. Right? I can't have a cookie cutter idea, approach to life and say, okay, this is successful, and this means I'm good, and this means I'm going somewhere, and this means, I'm worthwhile, and this means I'm not, or this means I'm not successful. That's elementary. That's not. Sometimes I listen to, while I'm doing the dishes, I listen to some videos online and podcasts and different things, and the ones that say, you all have to, if you want to be successful, you got X, Y, Z, that's not truthful advice. In the Torah, if you go to any person that is a Torah learner, that knows how to think based on Torah, okay? Not based on anything else, not based on any other philosophy, but based on Torah philosophy, they're always going to look at you and isolate you and see your life and see where you come from and see what you're working with and see your circumstances and be able to, yes, call you out on where you're not, living up to yourself really and making excuses and dodging bullets and trying to just fly under the radar and not make too many waves in your life, and they'll be able to call you out on that, but they'll also be able to tell you, really a method that's going to work for you and not this general method that works for everyone. Nothing works for everyone. Nothing. Okay? Besides for what the Torah tells us. For example, like if you do hitbodedut, okay? If you talk to God, when you're able to actually get the words out of your mouth and actually talk to him from your heart, that does something to your mind immediately. Your mind hears your words, that does something to your mind and it shapes your life. It does something to your soul simultaneously. It does something to your emotional system at the same time. Meaning the actual act of talking to God it impacts the whole system. The mind, body, and soul, it impacts the whole thing. You'll calm down your breathing, it'll soothe you. It does a lot of different things, right? So there are definitely certain things that work for everyone if they put them into action, if they put them into play. But there's not like one method of success for everyone. Mamash not. Okay? And the reason that a lot of us get so stuck and get depressed is because we're measuring ourselves up against I'm air. I'm air and fire. Air and fire. What happens when you blow on fire? It will burn down everything around it, right? The more air you add to fire, the more the fire will increase, right? So I have to learn how to tweak my air, tweak my fire in order for the two of them not to burn me up alive. In order for myself not to burn myself up alive. You know what I'm saying? With my negative thinking and my harsh self-discipline or my harsh self-talk or what I should be or could be or didn't do or should have done, or all of these things. And that's that combination of these two elements that I'm very much both, okay? How I can lose myself in the process of that. I can lose myself. I can lose all of it. I can fall into some kind of a rut, feel bad for myself, not like what I've done so far. And that's what can happen if I don't know how to measure, how to work with what I got. So let's begin. I want you to see yourself. I want you to see if you can find yourself or people that you know in what we're about to start learning. We're going to get into fire. We have about 20 minutes to a half hour to cover fire. We're going to get back to fire later. As you get more familiar with each element, I'm going to start mixing it up for you. I'm going to tell you. So what happens when you got an earth and a water? What do you see? What's the type of person? You're going to know it. You're going to figure it out. You're going to be able to say, oh, that's that. Oh, that's why my mother was like that. Okay? You'll be able to get a lot more clear. Regina, you're so beautiful. I love you. So good to see you. All right, let's begin. So we're gonna get into the fire right now. Okay, here we go. Again, this is the book. I recommend it. It comes in English also. I love the Hebrew. The Hebrew, I don't know if the English is as good as the Hebrew, but the Hebrew is brilliant. So what is fire? How does fire manifest in a person? Okay, so fire is, like we said before, it's the power of consumption, okay? It only exists by consumption. It's only as good as what it's consuming, okay? It's only as good as what it's consuming, which means that if you have a person that has fire as the dominant element in their personality, what that's going to look like is they have a goal, and they're going to go for that goal. Let's say they don't even have a goal. Let's say they don't know where they're even, what they even want from their lives, but they want to just go. They just want to go. They just want to go. It's not enough to just even have a 9 to 5. Even have a 9 to 5 is beyond their, they're not okay with it. Maybe they'll start off being okay with it, but once they're in that company or once they're in that organization, there's no way they're not climbing up the rungs. They're not going to be able to be satisfied sitting in their desk 9 to 5 for 20 years having the same job. No way. A fire sign, a fire element, a person that stems from fire, their whole being is based on them burning the step underneath them. Imagine you're walking up a staircase and what's going to dictate how fast you go is the fire that's burning behind you. So the step that you were just on, you look back and right now it's lit up on fire. So you're going to keep running up those stairs because the stairs under you are burning. The fire person is going to be a person that is going to naturally throw themselves into situations that they are scared of, that they're new to, that they're unsure about, but they're going to put themselves in that situation because the current situation is not good enough. It's not cutting it. They're not okay with it. Meaning they need to feel like they're moving and they're growing and they need to be able to burn something to be able to do that. So they're always going to need to burn something. Now, like we said before, every single thing has a good and a bad. Okay? Fire with its necessary, with its desire to move up, to grow. Koach hatzmicha, it's called koach hatzmicha, the aliyah. That's what it's called. It's the koach, it's the power of growth and aliyah, and moving upwards, moving upwards. That's where our need to grow comes from. That's why it says that a Jew, a Yid, has it says that a Yid has chelek elokah mimal, right? Has an extra added element of soul, has an added element of their living force, of their life force. It's not a regular life force, right? We know that there are different levels to the Nephesh, and the Jew has an added level of Nephesh. That added level of Nephesh means that they have an extra level of need to create. Because what is the Chelek Elokah Mimal means literally that we have an added piece of God in us. And what is God? God is the ultimate creator. He's the ultimate giver. He's the ultimate doer. He's the ultimate one that sets everything up. So when you have that kind of extra added piece to you, then of course you're going to be the top in Hollywood and in the banks and in every other thing that there is in the world, and in technology and in medicine and in science and every single thing. Of course it's going to be the Jew that's going to be up there in all of these things. Why? Because we have that added element of fire. Now, wait, 1 second. So you have that added element of fire, but you also have to take into account that, yes, you have the fire, but where's the fire burning you? Okay? Because there's no such thing as fire only warming you. Fire burns you. It can burn you. It can warm you. Okay. So fire, it's koach negative, the opposite of the good in fire, is koach kilui, the power consumption. When it comes to, let's say, they'll be much faster to get angry, much faster, it's much easier to set them off, much easier for them to be bal gavedics, meaning for them to have a lot of pride, a lot of, what's the word? How do you say gaiva in English? What's the word? Pride and, gaiva is pride, ego, yeah, exactly. There's that haughtiness. Thank you. So there's that haughtiness to them. Now, if you think about haughtiness, if you think about anger for a second, this is how it works. Haughtiness, okay, it's that I go out of my house and I see somebody that I know. And now there's a lot of positive qualities to this person that I'm looking at. They're successful, they're beautiful, they're different things, right? A person that's haughty will immediately look at them and size them up and say, and find the negative tchuna in them. We'll find the negative something about them, anything. They'll pick up on something, on a weakness, on a something they'll pick up inside of them, and they'll size them up based on that quality. And then naturally, by the power of consumption, meaning they've consumed them, and now naturally they feel better than them. Naturally they feel higher than them. They feel like they're more worthy than them. A person that needs to look at every single person that's around them and try to make them smaller in order for them to be bigger is the person that is using the fire in the negative. Is they have the fire in the positive also, for sure, but it's also playing over here on the side of the negative. A person that, because they are consuming, their fire is consuming the person in order for them to rise. I'm going to give you many, many examples. You're going to get it as you're going to go. I'm going to pick it up. It's not going to be like, A is for apple. It's not like that. It's not like A is for apple. Okay? It's a little bit more complicated than that, and you're going to find it in different places. So now you have this person that's bal gaiva or gets angry easily. What's with the anger? So let me just tell you for a second because I want to quote it correctly. He says, "Shemechale u'meshaber kelim b'chamato." A person that gets angry, what is the nature of anger? The nature of anger is to mechale kelim, the vessels that he's created with his actions, his tehillim, his giving, his keeping Shabbos, his giving tzedakah, his, being careful with what he says, all the stuff, all the kelim, all the vessels, because we know that we can only experience any kind of pleasure in this world, any kind of blessing. Okay, I can only sit on a chair like this, and I can only have this light on my face, okay, and being able to have this air conditioner here blowing on me, that can only be because I created kalim in my life. I created vessels. I've done things that were good, that were wholesome, that were right, that were good in the larger scheme of things, that allowed God to send me down the abundance, the shefa, in the form of light, electricity, the chair, my health, my children, my Baruch Hashem. Right? And where we don't have the things that we want, and this was last week's class, when we don't have the things that we want, all we have to do is not get bummed out about it. All we have to do is set up more vessels. You set up more vessels, you'll get more of the shefa that God is naturally already sending down to you. You just need the vessels. So now, since that's the case, what does a person with ka'as, what do they end up doing? They end up being mechala their vessels, they end up destroying their vessels, right? They be mechala, and it says, he burns, he consumes, he breaks with his anger. Now, what is the energy of anger? It's all spiritual energies. It comes out in the physical way where I'm slamming the door, I'm breaking the thing, or I'm angry, I'm screaming, or I'm yelling, or whatever it is. It comes out like that, but the energy of it is all in the spiritual. It's all in the Nephesh. And what's the basis of that coming from? Where is that coming from? It comes from the fire, the quality of fire. It's the same fire that gets me up in the morning davening. It's the same fire that makes me want to run and do a chesed. It's the same fire that says 100 is not enough, I want 200. It's the same fire that makes me go after, that makes me hungry. It's that same fire that also comes out in the negative when I'm able to, because of this situation, I'm going to consume my vessels. I'm going to break them by this chama, this anger that I have. The anger breaks the vessels. The anger is mechaleh. It consumes the vessels. Fire can only exist by consumption. So it has to consume something. So it's either consuming something good or it's consuming something bad. But when you see fire, you got to know that it's in consumption right now. So if you're angry, you got to know right now you are consuming vessels. Rather go into your room, close the door, smash your head into your pillow 10, 100 times, okay? And not break those vessels because you've worked so hard for those vessels. You worked so hard for those vessels. Why does the Yetzer Hara always come on Friday afternoon? Why is that always the thing that all of a sudden as you're getting ready for Shabbos, all of a sudden fire in the house. There's fire in the house. There's fighting. There's people are slamming doors. There's not enough hot water. There's all this stuff going on. There's all this stuff. Why? Because the potential, because the vessels, you're about to walk into Kedusha. You're about to walk into something that you're about to be filling up your vessels, getting vessels by the fact that you're just getting ready for Shabbos. By the fact that you're just putting the tablecloth on the table, taking a shower, you're already building vessels. You're creating vessels. Now, what happens when we create vessels? There's always going to be a counterpart to that. There's always going to be an energy in the spiritual realm that's going to come and try to attack that, because that's the world we live in. That's the idea of free choice. You can't just be this free, loving, amazing person that's always in the good, and it's always, you can be, but it says, the greatest person with the most amount of patience and the most amount of love in their heart has the biggest Yetzer Hara. It has to be equal. It has to be like that. So the more you are in prep for something that you are about, you're building vessels, you're going into a spiritual zone, a time where without you even knowing, you're filling these vessels of yours. That's why it says that Shabbos is Mekor Bracha, it's the source of all blessing. That's where all the blessing comes down on us from. Okay, so of course I'm going to have these menios, these trip ups before I go into this time, or while I'm preparing to go into time, while I'm building my vessels. Right? Of course I'm going to have it, because that's how it works. I have to have that leverage. It has to be both. So before I destroy my vessels, before I walk into Shabbos, I already went shopping, and I was schlepping, and I was cooking, and I was cleaning, and I invited people, and I was sweet, and I put on some Shabbos songs, and I got excited, and all of a sudden something happens. You have to know something's always going to happen. Otherwise, you're not in the game. Something has to happen. There has to be something that's going to get on your nerves. There has to be, because you are right now growing by consumption. You're growing by consumption. The way the fire works on the good side, on the positive aspect of things, is that the more you consume, the more you're going to jump. The more you're consuming. Now, what are you consuming? You're consuming You're consuming, hang on, I'm going to read all the stuff on the side in a minute. I'm going to finish this thought. You're consuming the level underneath you. You're consuming what you no longer is satisfying you. Like 2 years ago, it was very satisfying to like reach a certain milestone. So you reach that milestone, and now you're there. Let's say, for example, 2 years ago, you took upon yourself to, not wear pants anymore. Now you started wearing skirts. So for 2 years, you're wearing skirts. After 2 years, you're like, skirts is kind of my thing already. Like, I'm not like so tempted by my pants anymore. So I'm not like, oh my God, in the heavens, like having the most amount of like Kabbalah when I'm praying and I'm all flying. I'm not there anymore. I don't feel that anymore. Right? So when a person is in that space where they really wanna grow, so a fire person will be like, this ain't cutting it for me anymore. It's not enough. I want more. And their growth will be dependent on how much they're going to consume, how much of their comforts in the moment they're willing to put up on the altar in order to get up, in order to jump forward, in order to leap into the next phase, in order to go into the next phase of reality that they have yet to touch. But they just know that standing still is not going to happen. I can't. I feel like if I stand still for too long, stand still emotionally, stand still spiritually, stand still cognitively. If I stand still for too long, I'm going to get sad. I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get frustrated with life. I'm not going to be on my A game. I don't feel alive. I don't feel like I'm fulfilling my potential. What am I even in this world to do? That's the fire people. Fire people burn bridges. Fire people need to move. Now, where do the fire people get stuck? Fire people, no, this is not talking about astrological signs. Right, personality, exactly. Yeah, we're talking about the personality, okay? A person's personality and the elements where they draw their koach from, where they draw their energy from, okay? All right, so what happens to the fires when they get depressed? Listen to me. This is really, really important. Fire people get depressed when they do this, where they're dying to move forward, but they're stuck in the what is of life, of where they are, and they don't want to let go of the things that they know are holding them back. For example, a fire person that is just like, wants to move forward, but they are very comfortable in their eating habits or in their dysfunctional relationship or in their lack of spiritual movement or whatever. And they're kind of like comfortable. They're in that comfort zone over there, okay? But they're a fire person. So they love moving and they love growing and they love changing and they can't deal with just staying in one place. And they have to put, right? Where does their depression come from? Their depression comes from this one's pulling here, this need. I have this need to go, move already, not stay in the same place. I want more. And then I have this holding back of, I don't know, it's fine, it's not bad, I'm not my diet is not that bad, like holding on to the what they've already maxed out, what they've already done over and over again. It just became their norm, and they're not willing to kind of consume that. And that's what he says. He says something so brilliant. He says the level of growth a fire element's going to have is going to be dependent on how much of their stuff they're willing to consume, of how much of their stuff they're willing to let go of, how uncomfortable they're ready to make themselves. Being uncomfortable is the new thing. Like, try to make yourself uncomfortable as much as you can throughout the day, meaning, I'm like sitting here, I don't really feel like getting up and getting a cup of water. This is all just to challenge yourself, to put yourself in the ring. I don't feel like getting myself a cup of water. I'll just ask someone to give me a cup of water. It's not a big deal. I can ask someone to give me a cup of water, right? But dafka because I don't want to force myself off the couch to go get a cup of water. What that does is that it builds inside of your character, it builds inside of you this okayness with making yourself not cozy, not comfy. I'm okay with not being comfy. Not just okay, I look for opportunities not to be comfortable. That's the thing. A person that's smart understands that they are looking for opportunities to make themselves uncomfortable. What's not comfortable for you? To go to the supermarket and ask the lady where the flour is? Go up to the lady and ask her where the flour is, even if it's on your thing. It's not comfortable for you. You're not the type. It's not, I don't know, I don't feel it. Do it. Make yourself uncomfortable often. You don't like drinking that apple cider vinegar and the lemon in the morning? Drink it. Why? Not just because it's helpful for your body, because it's actually creating a state of being within you that you are moving into the place of doing with the knowing, with the knowledge that this is going to take you where you want to go, and you're letting go of the little guy inside of you that says, but it's not comfortable, but it's not yummy, I don't want it. You understand who we're dealing with? Do you understand what we're dealing with? We are dealing with a 4 or 5-year-old inside that says, I don't want to get up. I don't want to. I don't like it. It tastes gross. Ew. And then we have this adult, okay? We have this adult inside of us that says, it's good for you. This is the right thing for you to do. This is good for you. This is not just good for you. If you love yourself, you'll do this. This will take you to the next level. You will grow and evolve, and you'll meet new people because you're going to be at a whole new level of cognitive development and emotional development. This is so good for you. I don't want to go over there. I want to sit over here on the ground and eat my ice cream. Get up and run the marathon. I'm going to be sweaty. You understand? So we have this voice that's so dominant that we've given so much of our lives to, following it, okay? And it literally is 4 years old. 4. So of course you're gonna get depressed when you have all these grand like sheepos for your life, no matter how old you are, what you want to do with the next year of your life, where you want to see it. You want to learn another language, you want to develop another relationship with a friend, you want to be able to go make people happy, go to a nursing home and sing a song to some people to brighten up their day. You want to go deliver some packages to poor people. Whatever you want to do that you've never ever really done in your life, what is it that you want to do? And then we will have the 4-year-old come and say, but it's weird if you do that. But it's so not you. I'm so uncomfortable. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. That should start becoming our theme of the day. I'm so uncomfortable. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. I heard something brilliant today. Listen to this. I heard this on a podcast today. I loved it. I actually heard it on a commercial, and then I wasn't looking at the guy that was saying it, but I heard it on my headphones, and I looked down to find who it was, and it already skipped the commercial, so I don't know who said it, but he said something really, really smart. He said firefighters. Look at firefighters. They're human beings, okay? The fact that they're trained to do this, what they did is that they trained their internal processes. Listen, they run into a burning building. Everything about their psyche, everything about their emotional makeup, everything about their being is screaming, no! Okay? No. We have a survival mechanism, and the survival mechanism says, no, don't fall into the fire. Don't go in the fire. No. Hot. Don't go in. Okay? And yet these people train themselves. They went against their grain over and over and over again. And they move themselves into a space where they see fire, and now they don't go like this. They run into it. That's against all human understanding and reactions. But what happens to them when they see the fire? What happens to them is they have their adrenaline pumping. and they have their heart racing, and they have their sweat pouring down their faces. And yet they jump in. And that is the same, those are the same reactions we have to things that we're uncomfortable with, that we're scared of. You understand? When you're scared of something, your adrenaline's pumping, you're sweating, your heart's racing. But that's exactly the part where you train yourself to jump in, to go further, not to go like this and jump back into your little safety cozy net that tells you just to sit here and be happy with a lollipop. Just stay in the same place and just do what you, it's more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. God forbid. We don't want that. We want to be able to, yes, say, oh, my heart's pumping. I'm terrified. This is so out of my comfort zone. This is so scary to me. That's a good sign for me to jump right into the flames right now, to be able to save someone's life. That's a really good, because I'm probably going to save my own life. Don't listen to your emotions when they tell you, oh my God, fear, 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 red lights, fear. Don't listen to that. That's a good indication that you are going in a path that you've never went on before. But it's calling you and it's winking to you and it wants you and you want it and you want to already come out of the same old that we've been stuck in for years. We want to move into a different reality. We want to taste a different life. We want to smell a different air. We want to feel different feelings in our bodies. We want to have different relationships. You can't be the same person and have a different life. It's all bad. I tried many times. Okay, we all want to have it all, but not give up anything. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Can't have it if you're not going to give it up. And that's fire. Fire is koach hamechaleh. To the extent that you're going to jump, to the extent that you're going to grow, to the extent that you're going to have that lift, is going to be completely 100% dependent on what you are willing to throw onto the altar of your life. What you are willing to consume. The more you consume, the higher you go. The more you give certain things up or push yourself into certain things that are not natural for you, the more you do that, power of consumption, the more you will move. The faster you will move. The more efficient and effectively will you move. That's the equation. That's the equation there. Okay, wait. Anybody have any questions? You started doing the apple cider vinegar because of me in the morning. Yay. I was happy to hear that. It's amazing. Okay, anyone have any questions? Where is this ending? Oh, I don't know what I did. Okay. Oh, here. Thank you for sending a message. Please post any questions if you have any. Okay, great. So we're going to just continue now. Okay. All right. Okay. It says like this. התרוממות בנויה על גבי הכילוי של מה שקיים עד עתה. He says for fire element people. Now wait, before I want to talk about fire for a second like this. It says like this. Fire, you'll be able to identify them based on their need for movement. They're not movement, physical movement, growth. Okay, based on their need for growth, they have to grow. They can't stay in the same place. Based on their need to move upwards. He says like this. He says you'll be able to spot it if they have gaiva or ka'as, anger or haughtiness. That's a sign of fire. Okay. He says that the Rambam says that it's a koach hakilui, it's a power of consumption. Rav Chaim Vital says it's koach gaiva. Okay, he says that when you see gaiva in a person, you see haughtiness in a person, you have to know that this is coming from the same place. Coming from the same place. Now, for people that are struggling with gaiva, okay, they're struggling with not being able to see the good in other people as much as they see the negative in other people. You got to know that doing that it's habit. It's habitual. You got used to doing that and you keep doing that. It's not hard to come out of it. A few things that you have to do in order to come out of it, but you got to come out of it because I'll tell you why. People that are good people, honest, good, amazing, learned, spiritual people that are trying their best in this world, have this midah of gaiva, because usually a lot of them are also super creative and super out there and super working on themselves, but have a lot of fire to them. So there's no such thing as you getting rid of gaiva completely, and becoming anav mikol adam like Moshe Rabbeinu. But you gotta be aware of the fact that if you have this like need to grow, you also have some haughtiness in there and some arrogance in there. Okay, so you have to know how to deal with it. You can't just be like, no, I'm not arrogant. You are arrogant, okay? We are. All right. So how do you deal with this arrogance? What do you do? First of all, you got to know that naturally, you're going to have a negative look on some people, even if you love them. You're going to like them, you're going to love them, but you're going to always be able to spot their negative, their weak spots, what they're not good at, what they're nerdy about, what they're not, they don't have their act together in certain things. And you'll be able to see them very, very clearly, those things. When that comes up for you, tell yourself right there in the moment, just tell yourself, I am choosing to see only the positive in this person. What happens when I change the focus from negative to positive? It's a shift. I have to make a shift. Just like I move the gear in my car from reverse to park to drive to neutral. Okay, I'm making a shift and it takes a little bit of time to make a shift. But every single time you see the negative, say, oh, fire, hey, fire, what's up, fire? All right, I got you. But if I'm gonna keep giving into this thing that I think is just me and it's a part of me, and I just see the truth in people, I'm just really perceptive, and there's nothing, I can't hold myself back, it's just who I am, and all of that garbage, I'm not really gonna be able to grow, because it says, first of all, that Hashem can't live with Bali Gava. Hashem can't live in the same space as a Bali Gava. So you're losing the Ruach Hashem, you're losing the Shekhinah, you're losing the connection to God really in the way you can have it. Okay, that's number one. And number two, what we're really doing is what we said before, is that we're burning them in order for us to feel bigger. So you're burning someone. You don't want to burn anyone. You never want to burn anyone, okay? That's never going to give you anything good in your life, ever. The only thing it's ever going to give you is like that chocolate bar, that it's in the moment that it's yummy, and the second, the gossip that's in the second that it's yummy, but the second it's over, it's gone. That's the only kind of something you're going to get out of it. So it's a job. You have to take it as a job. You have to look at it as a job. There's a good and there's a bad and there's ugly. You got the package. You can't just get all the exciting, parts of it and not see the negative parts to it also. So you're going to see the negative in someone else and just say, I am seeing the positive. In that moment, see something good in them. They have beautiful eyes. They just made a nice gesture to someone. They see the good in them. See the good in them. You be the deciding factor to how you're going to see the life and how you're going to see people and how you're going to judge the world and where you're going to come from, because you know what? It's all a boomerang. It's all going to come back at you. It's never about the other person. It's always about you. A person that is kind in their nature, and a person that's working on themselves, and a person that doesn't want to be arrogant and doesn't want to feel like they're better than someone else or needs to put someone else down or control other people in order to feel like they're the ones that are in control. A person that doesn't want that in themselves has to know how to work around the elements that they do have in their character and not judge themselves. It's okay. If I wouldn't have fire in me, I would never be able to give these classes, feel so passionate about them, have this need and undying hunger to save the world that I can't explain, and all of these things and all the stuff that I'm doing, but I wouldn't have that. Therefore, I can't blame myself when I see the negative in somebody, but what I should do is immediately nip it in the bud. Immediately nip it in the bud. Because it's going to come right back at me, and then it's going to hurt my chances of making a difference in the world. It's going to hurt my chances of really, becoming the person I want to become. So that's number really, really important to know, that you're going to have that. You're going to have the arrogance. You're going to have the temper. Okay. Rav Chaim Vital says you're going to have it. The Rambam says you're going to have it. You have it. But you got the good and the bad. Know how to work with the bad. Know how to not consume the other person with your words, your looks, your thoughts in order to feel better about yourself. Know that you're playing with fire when you do that. Literally. Playing with fire. Okay. And now I want to just read to you the last part here that he discusses, and with this we're going to move into next week's class. We're going to move into air. Air is really, really interesting. Okay. And again, we didn't finish with fire. We just got a little bit of fire. We understood a little bit of what it is. We understood a little bit about the characteristics of it. Okay. It's gonna come back. It's gonna come back together. We're gonna understand how it works together with earth and how it works together with air and how it works and they all work together. You're gonna have one of them that's a dominant one in your character. The other ones are gonna be less. Okay. You might have one that's dominant and another one that's a little bit also very in your face and you feel it, and the other one's not so much. Okay. So he says over here, before we finish here, this thing he says here, he says like, where is it? Okay. He says like this. מה שבאמת מפריע לצמוח הוא חיסרון בכוח העילוי בעומק נפש האדם. He says that a person that has a hard time growing, okay, is a person that's a person that tries and fails, and tries and fails, and tries and fails, okay? To always try and fail. So that what they can say, he says over here earlier, he says what they can say, you can say, it's a hara, it's a sitra achra, Hashem doesn't want it for me yet. What they're not getting is that they don't know how to grow. There's a recipe for growth. Know how to grow. I remember in high school, my teacher used to tell us, girls, you all have to just grow. We have to all grow. And I remember thinking like, okay, but how? How do you grow? What do you do? I remember being really like put off by that statement because I felt such a pressure to grow and I didn't know how to do that. So he says like this, he says the people that try and fail and try and fail and try and fail, they have to understand one thing, that there's a recipe for growth, and they're not playing the recipe. They're not setting themselves up for success. They're setting themselves up for failure. Why is that? Listen to this. He says, מה שבאמת מפריע להם, what's really messing it up for them, הוא חיסרון בכוח העילוי בעומק נפש האדם, is that they're lacking in the כוח העילוי, which is AKA fire. They're lacking in fire, be'omek nefesh, in the depths and the recesses of their nefesh, where it all stems, where their personality and their character all stems from. They're lacking fire. They're lacking fire. So what am I supposed to do from lacking fire? He says, באמת ייתכן שהשאיפה נובעת מכך שהאדם אכן הדליק אש בתוכו. The person really has a she'ifa, has a desire to change their life, to have a new life already, to have a new relationship, to move past the stuckness. They have a real desire to move past the stuckness, but he says, but the problem is, not that he tries and fails and tries and fails, the problem is he's not ready, to let the fire, to completely burn and consume the level that you're on right now, the life that you're living right now, the stuff, the habits that you're used to right now. You want to move into that next thing. You got to do the thing that you don't do. You have to. That is the fire that's going to burn that life that you're stuck in. You want to get out of the stuckness, you got to burn it down, move to the next level. You can't say, I tried because one day, 2 days, you did something and then it's over. You gotta keep your eye on the ball. Your eye on the ball means, okay, I'm done with this picture. I'm done with this stuckness. I'm done with this reality. You're finished with it. You had enough. You drank enough of the Kool-Aid. You had enough of that drink. You're good. You're stuffed. You ready for something new? You ready for something else? Do you believe in something else? Do you believe in something new? You better. Anything is possible. As long as you have a heartbeat, as long as you're on this planet, you can experience something you've never experienced before. You can have something you've never had before. You can live a life that's different than the life that you had yesterday. You can. It's not a matter of, is it possible? It is possible. What it depends on, it only depends on, is how willing am I to forego the life that I can't stand anymore? How willing am I to forego the qualities in me that make me want to vomit on myself? How willing am I to let go of the stuff that is chaining me into the reality that I'm in? What are those things? Write down for yourselves. After this class, sit down with yourself. Write down for yourself. Where am I in a year from now? What do I want? Where am I going? What am I doing? Not how. How am I going to get that? How am I going to afford that? How is that going to even happen to me? Don't think how. God is going to take care of the how. Where? Who are you? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do with these next 12 months of your life? If you can do anything and not fail, if you can do anything and not fail, what would it be? What would it look like? Set it up for me. Write it out specifically. Where are you? What do you look like? What are you feeling like? Who are your friends? How are you making money? You have all the money you need. Now what are you doing with yourself? Just fantasize for a second, can we, for a minute? Stop being so realistic and so rigid and so in the box and so but how and control freaks, and just fantasize and just imagine. The Torah is telling us just to imagine, go into the space where if you could have anything and not fail, what would you do? What would it be? What would it look like? How would it taste? We have to figure out how to grow and get on the bandwagon, because it's not going to just naturally happen to us as we age. No, it's not. We got to know what we're after, what we want, what tickles our fancy, what got put into our gut and made us the way we are. He put this machine inside of you. He put this life force inside of you. He's giving you every single day on this world. He wants something from you as long as you're on this planet. He has a mission for you, and he's not going to let you get around it. That's the thing. And if the more we try to be comfortable and get around it, the more up against the wall our backs are going to be. The more in difficult situations we end up being, the more concern we end up having, the more pain we end up experiencing, because we don't want to be uncomfortable. The kid, 4-year-old, doesn't want to give up his lollipop. He doesn't want to get up and have to go take a shower. He doesn't even want to go to the dentist, and he definitely doesn't want to do his chores. He doesn't want to do all the things that are going to make him into a mensch. He doesn't want to do it. That's how we're programmed. We're working with that kind of programming. You got to know it. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. You're working with that. Okay, so you have the parent and then you have the child. You have to parent yourself. And that means getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, because the comfortable is keeping us stuck in the reality that we're not interested in anymore. So that's where we're at. It's a serious game we're in. It really is a serious game. And we have the ultimate coach who's not going to give up on us, and that does Gilgulim after Gilgulim and brings us back here and again and again and again until we get it, until we stop running away from ourselves, from our highest potential. You can't run away from it. It's going to chase you down like a dog. You can't run away from it. You have to be the one to attack first. You have to be the one that has the sweat beating down his forehead and his heart thumping and his adrenaline pumping, and he's standing outside of that burning fire, that burning house, and he runs towards it and not runs away from it. And we can train ourselves, just like they train themselves, we can train ourselves. And that's what we're doing in these classes. We are learning to train ourselves big time, to overcome the feelings and the emotions. Or the people that just don't know, well, they'll say, oh my God, I just gave a class and then I yelled at my kid. I'm such a hypocrite. You're not a hypocrite. It's the same side of a different coin. It's the same coin. It's the other side of the coin. It's the same coin. Now work with what you got. Know how to work with it. The class is coming to consume, and so is the need to grow coming to consume. Let it consume what's good and stay away from consumption of what's going to break your vessels and hold you back. So that's that for this afternoon for you ladies and men. Anyone have any questions? Could you talk? Can we unmute everyone?
Yeah, so I'm going to moderate. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to allow anyone to unmute themselves. So feel free to do that.
Hi, Devorah, I have a quick question. Who are you quoting when you're not quoting? Who are you translating? Because I missed the beginning of the class. When you're translating and you're saying in Hebrew, is it Rambam?
This book, it's called Da'is Nafshecha. It's a series, and he bases everything on the Ramchal, the Arizal, Rav Chaim Vital, the Rambam. He brings it all.
Is it in English? Is it in English?
I also have it in English.
Okay.
It's called Know Your Soul. They sell it all over. In America, I bought this in America.
Know Your Soul. Okay, thank you so much. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Devorah, I have a quick question.
Who is that?
Rihanna. Hi. You talk about, like, in the beginning, you were saying that, like, you keep saying, like, the Nephesh, and I know that there's like, obviously there's the five levels to the soul, but when you talked about the Nephesh, like, having, like, anger in it, isn't our, like, I don't know if it's different from the Nephesh and the Neshama, but aren't our, like, Neshamas innately good? Like, Elokai Neshama talks about that, like, our Neshamas are innately pure. So how can our Neshamas have anger in them?
Beautiful. So you have your neshama is your life force. In your life force, you have 5 different levels of life force. Okay, there's nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida. There are different levels of spirituality, within your soul. Okay, the nefesh is the base of the human being. It's the place where we get our need for survival, where we have the drive for pleasures, to eat, to procreate, all of that. That comes from the nefesh. In the nefesh is also the home of all of our midot, of all of our characters, our personality. That's where our nefesh is. Now, the more you climb the rungs, the more you know how to tweak and move up these rungs called your nefesh, the more you move into the next level of your neshama. And then you move into the next level. Even within the nefesh, there's the nefesh benefesh, nefesh de nefesh, nefesh de ruach, nefesh de neshama, nefesh de chaya, nefesh de yechida. There are different levels within the nefesh of spirituality. And then you move into ruach, so there's ruach de nefesh, ruach de ruach, ruach de neshama, right? There's different levels of spiritual enlightenment within that category. It's not just neshama, it's not just life force. It's when you break it down, it's like heart surgery. There are different valves for different things in different ways, and one feeds off of the other, and that's how it works. You can have a healthy heart with clogged arteries, and then the heart is no longer healthy. The heart stops beating, right? Because the arteries are the arteries that bring the blood in. They're not doing their job. So the actual healthy heart stops to beat because it's not getting what it needs. So it's the same way with the levels of the nefesh, meaning if the nefesh is sound, if the nefesh is balanced, if the nefesh is doing well, and you know how to deal with your nefesh, and you're not crashing every other day, and you're not being too hard on yourself, or you're not, being too much of like that go-getter and nonstop, if you don't know how to quiet yourself also and give yourself that space. If you know how to balance your nefesh, then you'll be able to have a whole healthy neshama. The neshama will be a healthy place. The neshama will be evolving and growing and.
Right. So you're saying that the neshama is innately good, but it relies kind of on the nefesh to balance it out, or to get up the steps up to, I guess, being.
The neshama is made up. It's almost like the mountain and the rock, right? The rock is the piece of a mountain. It's just a smaller piece, right? You have the puzzle, and then you have the puzzle pieces. So the neshama is the puzzle, and the puzzle pieces is the elements within the neshama. And those have names, and those have categories, and those have levels of energies. Anyone else? Any questions?
Thank you.
We're good. All right. So we're going to continue next week. We're going to continue.
Hi, Devorah.
Who's talking? Yes.
Regina, I don't know how to talk to you.
Who is that?
It's me, Regina. How are you?
Hashem, I'm good, Regina. I'm just going to wrap up, and I'm going to tell everyone that for next week, if you want to buy the book, I think it'll be really, really helpful.
Yeah, you have to put it in Instagram, the name of the book in English and who wrote it.
The name of the book in English is Know Your Soul, Know, Know Your Soul. And this is how it looks in Hebrew. It looks the same way in English. It just says Know Your Soul here.
Okay, perfect.
Deborah, who's the author? Sorry, who's the author? Because I just WhatsApped you. I Googled it, but I can't, it doesn't come up. It doesn't,
The author his name is Rav Itamar Schwartz. That's the name of the author, even though it doesn't say the name. He's anonymous here, and because he's the same author as Belvavi Mishkan Evne, the same author of Belvavi Mishkan Evne, which is his other set of Sfarim, and he basically was anonymous for the majority of his career, and he just came out recently.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so if anybody
Thank
has any
you.
questions, yes, Know Your Soul by Rabbi Itamar Schwartz, exactly. Same
Any more
time, same
questions?
day, next week. And if you guys want a recording of this, let the Lighthouse know, and they will send out a link if you want a recording of this class.
I put the
Okay,
link on
thank
the
you.
on the comments. The link so you can access it. It's the same link for the live broadcast and for the replay afterwards.
But Vivian, how do we get to the link for this class? Was it recorded?
Yeah, it's broadcasting live on Facebook right now.
Oh, okay, very nice.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Devorah.
Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming. I love you all.
Hag Sameach. Shabbat Shalom and Hag Sameach.
Yerushalayim. That's what you mean, or you mean Shavuot?
Yes, yes,
Yom
yes,
Yerushalayim. Yom Yerushalayim.
yes. Yay.